In the quiet heart of a Florida suburb, a chilling event unfolded, forever altering the lives of those involved. A young girl, Tia Hernlen, just 5 years old, became the unlikely key to unlocking a horrifying mystery. Her innocent voice, filled with fear and confusion, pierced through the tranquility of that fateful day. A simple 911 call, a desperate plea for help, would set in motion a chain of events that would shake the foundations of the community. "I think they're dead," she had whispered, her tiny voice barely audible over the line. "Daddy's on the floor. I'm 5 years old and I have a dog in the house." Her words, innocent yet harrowing, painted a picture of a scene straight out of a nightmare. A young couple, lifeless on their own floor, their home transformed into a macabre tableau. The once peaceful neighborhood now shrouded in a sinister aura. As investigators delved deeper into the case, they were met with a puzzle of perplexing clues and contradictory statements. The more they uncovered, the more questions arose. Who could have committed such a heinous act? What was the motive behind this brutal crime? The spotlight turned to Tia, the child witness, whose testimony held the key to unraveling the truth. Her vivid recollection of the events, though disturbing, was crucial in guiding the investigation. But as the case progressed, it became evident that there was more to this story than met the eye. Behind the scenes, a darker force was at play, a sinister plot that threatened to consume the lives of those involved. The lines between innocence and guilt blurred, and the true nature of the crime began to emerge, a chilling revelation that would leave the community reeling. As the first rays of sunlight peeked through the curtains, a young Tia Hernlen stirred from her slumber. The soft glow of the morning sun filled her room, promising a new day of endless possibilities. But as she sat up in bed, a chilling sight met her gaze. Her parents, normally bustling about, were motionless, their bodies sprawled across the floor. A silent scream escaped her lips as she realized the horrifying truth: her parents were gone. Panic seized her as she stumbled towards the phone, her tiny fingers trembling as she dialed 911. "I think they're dead," she sobbed into the receiver, her voice barely audible. "Daddy's on the floor. I'm 5 years old and I have a dog in the house." The emergency operator, her voice filled with concern, tried to calm the frightened child, guiding her through the terrifying ordeal. As the operator listened intently, a sense of dread washed over her. This was no ordinary emergency call. This was a call that would plunge the community into a state of shock and disbelief. The arrival of the police officers shattered the tranquility of the neighborhood. Sirens wailed, breaking the morning silence as they raced towards the Hernlen home. The once peaceful street was now a scene of chaos and confusion. Yellow crime scene tape cordoned off the property, a stark reminder of the tragedy that had unfolded within its walls. As investigators combed through the crime scene, a chilling picture began to emerge. The brutal nature of the murders sent shockwaves through the community. The question on everyone's lips was, who could have committed such a heinous act? The spotlight turned to Tia, the sole witness to the horrific crime. Her innocent eyes had witnessed the unimaginable, and her testimony would be crucial in piecing together the puzzle. But as the investigation deepened, it became clear that there were more layers to this mystery, more secrets hidden beneath the surface. At the heart of this tragedy were Julie and Alan Hernlen, a loving couple who had built a beautiful life together. Julie, a dedicated elementary school teacher, was known for her warmth and compassion. Her infectious laughter and kind heart made her a beloved figure among her students and colleagues. Alan, a successful businessman, possessed a sharp mind and a strong work ethic. Together, they formed a formidable partnership, both professionally and personally. Their love for their daughter, Tia, was boundless. They showered her with affection, nurturing her young mind and spirit. Tia, in turn, adored her parents, finding solace in their embrace and guidance. They were a family unit, bound by love and understanding. The Hernlens were deeply rooted in their community, known for their generosity and volunteer work. They were active members of their local church, often organizing charity events and community gatherings. Their positive impact was felt by many, and their loss would leave a void in the hearts of those who knew them. As investigators delved deeper into the case, they began to uncover a web of secrets and lies, a hidden world that existed just beyond the facade of normalcy. The more they explored, the more questions arose. Who could have wanted to harm such a kind and gentle family? What motive could drive someone to commit such a heinous act? As the pieces of the puzzle began to fall into place, a chilling truth emerged, a truth that would shock the community to its core. The investigators discovered that the Hernlens had recently become embroiled in a dispute with a neighbor, a man with a troubled past and a volatile temper. This neighbor, driven by a twisted sense of jealousy and resentment, had been harboring a deep-seated hatred for the Hernlens, a hatred that would ultimately lead to their tragic demise. As the investigation unfolded, the community was gripped by fear and uncertainty. The once peaceful neighborhood was now a place of fear and suspicion. Parents warned their children to stay indoors, and neighbors eyed each other with mistrust. The idyllic suburban life that the Hernlens had cherished was shattered, replaced by a sense of dread and foreboding. Tia, the sole survivor of the tragedy, was left to grapple with the loss of her beloved parents. The once bright-eyed and innocent child was now burdened with the weight of grief and trauma. The horrific events of that fateful morning would forever scar her young soul. As the community mourned the loss of the Hernlens, they rallied around Tia, offering their love and support. They vowed to protect her, to shield her from the darkness that had claimed her parents. But as the days turned into weeks, it became clear that the danger had not passed. The shadow of the killer still loomed large, a constant reminder of the tragedy that had befallen the community. The chilling details of the 911 call echoed through the emergency dispatch center, a stark reminder of the horror that had unfolded within the Hernlen home. Tia, her voice trembling with fear, described the horrific scene to the operator, her words painting a vivid picture of the carnage. "Mommy and Daddy are hurt," she whispered, her voice barely audible. "There's blood everywhere." As first responders raced to the scene, a sense of dread washed over them. Upon arrival, they were met with a horrifying sight. The once peaceful home was now a crime scene, a testament to the brutal violence that had taken place. Julie Hernlen, the beloved teacher, was found deceased, her lifeless body a stark reminder of the senseless act of violence. Alan, the strong and resilient businessman, was critically injured and rushed to the hospital, his life hanging by a thread. The question that echoed through the minds of investigators was, who could have committed such a heinous act? And why? As they delved deeper into the case, they uncovered a web of secrets and lies, a hidden world that existed just beneath the surface of this seemingly idyllic community. The investigators focused their attention on the neighbor, a man with a troubled past and a volatile temper. His history of erratic behavior and violent outbursts made him a prime suspect. But as they gathered evidence, they realized that the truth was far more complex than they had initially imagined. The neighbor, while undoubtedly a dangerous individual, may not have been the sole perpetrator of the crime. A deeper conspiracy, a darker force, was at play. As the investigation unfolded, the investigators were drawn into a dangerous game of cat and mouse, where every clue led to a new mystery, and every answer raised more questions. The fate of Alan Hernlen hung in the balance, his life teetering on the brink. The community watched with bated breath, hoping for a miracle. But as the days turned into weeks, it became increasingly clear that the future held uncertainty and despair. The shadow of the killer still loomed large, a constant reminder of the tragedy that had befallen the Hernlen family and the community as a whole. As the investigation deepened, detectives began to focus their attention on a man named David Edward Johnson. Johnson, a troubled individual with a history of criminal activity, had a long-standing feud with the Hernlen family. A prior legal dispute over drug-related activities had left him embittered and resentful, fueling a deep-seated hatred for the family. Investigators meticulously examined Johnson's background, uncovering a pattern of erratic behavior and violence. His volatile temper and disregard for the law made him a prime suspect in the heinous crime. As they delved deeper into his life, they discovered a dark secret, a hidden motive that could explain the brutal attack on the Hernlen family. Through painstaking detective work, investigators uncovered a series of clues that linked Johnson to the crime scene. Forensic evidence, including fingerprints and DNA samples, pointed directly to his involvement. Surveillance footage captured his movements in the vicinity of the Hernlen home on the night of the murder, solidifying his connection to the case. A timeline of Johnson's actions on the night of the murder began to emerge. He had been seen lurking near the Hernlen home, his intention shrouded in mystery. As darkness fell, he struck, breaking into the house and carrying out the brutal attack. The motive, however, remained elusive. Was it simply revenge, a twisted act of retribution for past grievances? Or was there something more sinister at play? As investigators continued to unravel the layers of this complex case, they were confronted with a disturbing truth: the lines between good and evil were blurred, and the human capacity for cruelty knew no bounds. The question that haunted the investigators was, what drove Johnson to commit such a heinous crime? Was it a momentary lapse of judgment, or a calculated act of revenge? As they delved deeper into the mind of the killer, they hoped to find the answers that would bring justice to the victims and closure to the grieving community. As investigators delved deeper into the mind of David Edward Johnson, a chilling portrait emerged. A man consumed by paranoia and resentment, Johnson had long harbored a deep-seated grudge against the Hernlen family. He believed that they had played a role in his downfall, ruining his life and destroying his dreams. This twisted belief fueled his desire for revenge, a dark obsession that would ultimately lead to tragedy. The night of the murder, Johnson meticulously planned his attack. He stalked the Hernlen home, waiting for the perfect moment to strike. As darkness enveloped the neighborhood, he slipped into the house, armed with a deadly weapon. His heart pounded with a mixture of excitement and dread as he moved through the silent house. The confrontation with the Hernlens was swift and brutal. Johnson unleashed a torrent of violence, his rage consuming him. The once peaceful home was transformed into a scene of horror, a testament to the darkness that lurked within the mind of the killer. After the attack, Johnson turned the gun on himself, ending his life as abruptly as he had taken the lives of the Hernlens. His suicide left behind a trail of unanswered questions, a mystery that would forever haunt the community. The tragic events that unfolded that night sent shockwaves through the community. The once peaceful neighborhood was forever changed, scarred by the senseless violence. The Hernlen family, once a beacon of hope and love, was now a symbol of loss and grief. As the community mourned the loss of the beloved family, they also grappled with the chilling reality of the killer's twisted motives. The tragedy served as a stark reminder of the destructive power of hatred and revenge, a cautionary tale that would be etched in the minds of those who knew them. The aftermath of the tragedy left an indelible mark on the community. The once peaceful neighborhood was now shrouded in a pall of grief and disbelief. The loss of the Hernlen family was deeply felt, and their absence was a constant reminder of the senseless violence that had taken place. At the heart of this tragedy was young Tia Hernlen, a child forced to witness the horrific murder of her parents. The trauma of the event would undoubtedly shape the course of her life, leaving a lasting impact on her psyche. The community rallied around Tia, offering their love, support, and prayers. Friends, family, and neighbors came together to provide her with the care and attention she needed to heal. They shielded her from the harsh realities of the world, creating a safe and loving environment where she could recover. As Tia navigated the complexities of grief and trauma, she found solace in the support of her loved ones. She learned to cope with the loss of her parents, finding strength in their memory. The community, inspired by her resilience, continued to offer their unwavering support, ensuring that she would not be alone in her journey of healing. The question of how a child could recover from such a traumatic experience is a poignant one. The answer lies in the power of love, compassion, and human resilience. With the support of her loved ones and the community, Tia found the strength to move forward, to embrace life, and to honor the memory of her parents. The tragic events that unfolded in the quiet suburban neighborhood serve as a stark reminder of the destructive power of unchecked anger and resentment. David Edward Johnson's actions were a chilling example of how a grudge, left unchecked, can escalate into violence and tragedy. His inability to let go of the past ultimately led to the destruction of innocent lives. The case of Tia Hernlen also highlights the importance of community support for survivors of trauma. The love, compassion, and unwavering support of her loved ones played a crucial role in her healing process. The community's collective effort to protect and nurture her provided a beacon of hope in the darkness. As we reflect on this tragedy, we are left to ponder a haunting question: could this tragedy have been prevented? Perhaps, if Johnson had sought help for his mental health issues or if the community had intervened earlier, the tragic outcome could have been avoided. However, it is important to remember that we cannot always predict or prevent such acts of violence. The memory of the Hernlen family will forever live on, a poignant reminder of the fragility of life and the importance of cherishing every moment. Their story serves as a cautionary tale, urging us to cultivate empathy, understanding, and compassion in our interactions with others. By learning from the past, we can strive to create a future where violence and hatred are no longer tolerated. The memory of the Hernlen family will forever live on, a poignant reminder of the fragility of life and the importance of cherishing every moment. Their story serves as a cautionary tale, urging us to cultivate empathy, understanding, and compassion in our interactions with others. By learning from the past, we can strive to create a future where violence and hatred are no longer tolerated. As we conclude this harrowing tale, we invite you to reflect on the strength and resilience of young Tia Hernlen. Her courage in the face of adversity is an inspiration to us all. Please share your thoughts on her incredible journey in the comments below. If this story has moved you, please hit the like button and subscribe to our channel for more true crime stories. Together, we can raise awareness about the dangers of violence and work towards a safer future.